was recently listening to the latest album of Arcade Fire, which is a masterpiece, like all of their albums. And there is one song that especially caught my attention, which had the title Unconditional. And it is a song that Wim Butler, the lead singer, wrote for his son. I think the song touches upon the essential message of Christianity. So I felt like making a video about the following topic: unconditional love. As the Beatles in all their wisdom said, all you need is love. And I think it is a fact that what you need to live a fulfilling life and to be happy in the long run is people who love you in an unconditional way. By this I mean two things. First of all, people who love you the way you are. People for whom you don't need to hide your bad character traits or your shortcomings. People for whom you are not afraid of losing their love. You don't think things like, if they knew this or that about me, they would love me less. Secondly, by unconditional love, I mean love that you don't have to earn by doing difficult stuff or achieving success. You don't have to give something back in exchange for that love. You don't need to deserve it. You simply receive it. If you have people who love you unconditionally, and if you also love other people in an unconditional way, then even if you encounter difficulties and big problems in your life, and even if you still feel sad at times and go through rough periods, deep inside you will remain happy. Having said this, a logical question to ask is, where can I find such a love? The natural place to experience unconditional love is the family. In the ideal situation, parents love their children unconditionally. You see this very clearly when a couple has a child. Even though a baby does little more than eating, sleeping, crying, and producing dirty diapers, that doesn't matter. You love your son or your daughter with your whole heart, and you are ready to do anything for them. Further, parents love each other in principle in an unconditional way. In the Christian tradition, which is the one I'm most acquainted with, when you marry someone, you tell this person, I love you unconditionally. And whatever may arrive in good times and in bad times, in sickness and in health, whether we are rich or poor, you can always count on my love. So we see that the relationships within the family are a very natural place to find unconditional love. And this is why strong, caring, and united families make happy people in general. Of course, the family in the literal sense is not the only place to find such a love. One may have, for instance, very good friends, whom we regard as part of our family. And that is why sometimes, especially young people, perhaps, call each other brothers. And you say things like, "What's up, bro?" By this you mean, at least in principle, that you love this friend of yours as if he was your brother. And there is a place to look for unconditional love I haven't talked about, that has everything to do with the essential message of Christianity, which I would present as follows. There is a God who is the cause of all there is, and hence this God knows everything that exists. In particular, God knows everything about us, both our good sides and our bad sides. There is no point in trying to hide things from God, in trying to look nicer than what you really are, because He already knows you. Moreover, God is perfect, so He doesn't need anything. There is, strictly speaking, nothing you can do to deserve His love, in the sense that He doesn't owe us anything. Well, this God, who knows you better than yourself and who doesn't need anything from you, looks at you and says, I love you unconditionally, like a good father loves his children. You are my child. I am your father. And I'm happy to become flesh and die on a cross out of love for you, in the hope that every time you see a cross in a building, in the street, or wherever, you will remember how much I love you. The love of God for us is the most unconditional love there can exist, because He knows us exactly as we are, and because He doesn't need anything in exchange for it. This is why when we give answer to that love, when we ourselves love God as our Father, we experience the deepest possible happiness. This, I would say, is the essence of what Christ came to tell us. To finish, one may say, from all I've heard about Christianity, the love of God doesn't seem unconditional to me. After all, the church and the Bible are often talking about sin and about hell, so it sounds like you have to behave in a certain way if you want God to love you. Well, it is true that there is something like the Ten Commandments, and the moral teachings of the church encourage us to live in a certain way and to avoid certain behaviors. But here is the key to understand the reason behind this. Living according to the Ten Commandments is precisely what enables you to love God and the others with your whole heart, in a truly unconditional way. So we Christians, we see the Ten Commandments as some kind of instruction manual for people who want to be happy by loving others to their full capacity. This is very clear with some commandments, like not stealing or not killing others, for example. I agree that it is maybe less clear with other teachings of the church, but I think that this is that way in part because we Christians are sometimes just not very good at explaining the reasons behind them. This may be in fact a good topic for another video in the future. But for now I've talked enough, so I say goodbye and stay tuned.